Hello people, sorry about the angle and the sound effects. That window right there is the bathroom. Luke's showering. Didn't realise how loud the shower would be from right here. So basically, my gestational diabetes went crazy this last 2 weeks. Obviously, I had a high fasting glucose at my very first bloods when they just check it, basically everything. It was borderline. It has to be 5.1 or above to be risky, but mine was 5.1, so a lot of things could have caused it because it was a one-off test, like the fact that I'd been fasting for almost 20 hours by the time the test got done because stuff happened. This is the blood test that I complained about and made a video about because it was so frustrating. But because that was like borderline, I was going to get sent for like the oral glucose tolerance test early and like just monitored for gestational diabetes, just because my PCOS and that high test. PCOS makes you more likely to have gestational diabetes or like higher risk, and then seeing a blood test result maybe hinting at gestational diabetes, I was like, we're being proactive. We're being a bit proactive, just with like, I was testing my fingers every now and then. I was never really high. Like if I ate a whole bunch of crap, I'd occasionally get a slightly high reading, but never massive, never diabetic level. And then I hit, I think I was 14 weeks. I had a 14-week appointment with my GP, and she said she was going to put my referral through to the hospital in because they take a while. They'd probably not see me until after my anatomy scan, which is the same that happened with this thing here. And then like the next day I got a message from Armidale saying your gestational diabetes referral has been accepted. Please call this number. And I was like, what? So I talked to my GP about it, and she goes, yeah, I didn't send that as a gestational diabetes referral. I just sent like a referral to the hospital for you to give birth there. So she wasn't sure what was happening. I was like, just call the number. The number ended up calling me 2 Wednesdays ago. They called me and said, are you able to come in for a appointment tomorrow at, I think it was like 10 o'clock or something like that, 1 o'clock, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, sure. I had a uni excursion, but with how crap my uni's been lately, I was like, I don't want to risk not going to that, so I'll go to a health appointment. That's a good enough reason. So I went to that appointment. Mum babysat Hayden. Unbeknownst to me, I thought it was just like the initial quick 10-20 minute hello, this is how you do things, blah blah blah. It was not. It was a 2-hour course. The first hour was with a gestational diabetes specialized nurse, and then there was another hour with a health nutritionist that specializes in GD apparently. That was that. We then had to keep a food log and a gestational and a glucose meter reading log. All my first thing in the morning readings were slightly high, so obviously they saw that and were like, oh, we don't deal with extreme cases of gestational diabetes. And I'm sitting there like, I haven't even been diagnosed with it yet. I haven't done my oral glucose test yet. Like, can I just do that before we start jumping the gun? I'll just keep eating healthy until we actually know. They didn't really listen to me. They didn't pay any attention to what I said whatsoever, basically. And they referred me on to Fiona Stanley, which messed me up in my head. I just freaked out. Fiona Stanley, I've just had constant negative experiences there. The last time I saw an OBGYN there was for my surgery, and that just went terribly. Like, he told everyone he put a catheter in and didn't put a catheter in. So when the nurses came round to take out my catheter, I was like, I don't have one. And they're like, oh yes you do, honey. And sure enough, I didn't have one. And they were like, oh, he should have put a catheter in. He left a stitch in that I then had to remove myself because it started getting infected. And I pointed the stitch out to him. I thought, oh yeah, maybe it's an internal stitch. No, I checked my GP, it wasn't an internal stitch. One of my emergency visits, I had really severe pain in my chest. I could not breathe in. I was like, and I was on strong medication because it was shortly after my surgery. I had super strong medication for my surgery, pain meds. And I didn't need them for my surgery, but I was taking them for this chest pain, and I went and saw a doctor, and she was like, you need to go to the emergency. I can't. She sent me for an ultrasound, but she was like, just go, because this could be a blood clot, pulmonary embolism, it could be serious. And yeah, basically I got sent to Fiona Stanley emergency. We turned up at St John of God because I remember you dropped me off, and they were like, yeah, this is a private, you have to pay for appointments. I was like, okay, bye, we'll go next door. I went there and they basically ruled out I didn't have a blood clot, and then they discharged me. They did not once think, oh, the reason this chick came in is because she's having severe chest pain and she can't breathe. Breathe? They just sort of ruled out that I wasn't dying of the thing they thought it might be, and then discharged me with severe crushing chest pain. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I was still in so much pain. And yeah, I've just had really bad experiences with them ever since. I've also had some close friends that also work in the medical industry, so have some experience, have horrible experiences with them, like way worse than mine. So I'm just like, no, I don't want to go there. I got the phone call right after, it was like the day after I got referred. They rang me up. I was at Midland Shops at the playground playing with him, and she said my appointment was Wednesday 1:15 p.m. and I immediately told Mum because she was with me, and then I rang Luke's mum to see if she could babysit, and she had a specialist appointment she had to put forwards and like rearrange her day to babysit, and I've notified work I can't work Wednesday. Message the next morning confirming my appointment said, oh, confirming your appointment for Friday 8:30 a.m. So like I haven't even seen them and they're already stuffing me around. I don't know which appointment is the right appointment. Is it the first one I was told or the one I got messaged? And when I rang up to ask, the lady that answered said, oh, everyone that does appointments gone home for the weekend. It was like Friday mid-afternoon. My work shift starts at 7 a.m. If I don't find out till they open at 9 a.m. on Monday what time my appointment is, if it's like Wednesday, that's not even 48 hours notice for my work. Like, coming back up, are ya? Yeah, off to a bad start. I have since, on Saturday, just a week ago, had my oral glucose yeah, you can use those. Oral glucose test tolerance to my OGTT, oral glucose tolerance test. 2-hour ones. I had 75 milligrams of glucose sugar in a drink, 100 ml drink. I went yesterday and got my results for that, and just like I suspected but was like trying not to hope for, they're negative. Like, they're perfectly within normal ranges. They do not indicate whatsoever that I have gestational diabetes. We've all jumped the gun, but then yeah, but then my glucose meter that the hospital gave me, I was using my own one and I'd never had a high reading. I think I had a high reading once, but I like pigged out on chocolate or something and I had like just a high reading. And it was like 6.8 or 6.7, which is like the borderline. It wasn't massively high. What, darling? It was like, well, why is this meter suddenly saying my measurements and readings are slightly higher? Especially because I tested myself right before I walked in and had my blood test for my OGTT, and it said I was 5.2 or 5.5 or something, and I was like, great. That's what made me think maybe I have got gestational diabetes. But then my intravenous blood test that actually is a lot more accurate said I was 4.6 or 4.2 or like way lower, and I was like, what the hell? Why are the two measurements completely different? Why is my glucose meter not in line with my blood levels? And obviously they take plasma and there are differences, but the glucose meters are made to account for those differences between blood and just plain plasma and a blood test. So this morning, I discovered something. Wow! At our gestational diabetes class prac thingamajiggy, when they gave us our meters, they said, you have to use the little strips, the little tests themselves, individual use, but the lancets you reuse. They said they did studies and there was no difference in reusing the lancets. It's just that after a day or two they got blunt and then hurt more, but there was no difference in the results. I used my lancet from yesterday, took my finger prick test. I would just go buy more lancets, by the way, but our chemists only have the test strips. They don't have the lancets, so that's fun. I took my test using yesterday's Lancet. I was 5.3, 5.2, 5 point something. I was over gestationally diabetic, whatever the word is. And then I changed to a brand new Lancet, redid the test, and I was 4.6, completely within normal ranges, not gestationally diabetic. Like, there was a big difference, like a gestational diabetes diagnosis and being perfectly normal.
I think if you Google it, it says it shouldn't change anything.
It says it shouldn't change anything. Well, it literally did.
It just says, bottom line, if you're using a Lancet, it makes it more likely that you'll check your blood sugar. It's fine to let it linger a little longer. Officially, all Lancets are single use, so reusing it is a fact of life, and many people do it. People often do it to save money, or they are running out and won't be able to buy more. Just like everything else, you need to be smart and do it in moderation.
So everyone's saying it's fine, but I literally did it. Maybe it's just this type of meter. It's not fine or something.
And do not find an issue with changing it once every 1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks, yeah. I was doing it every couple of days. I'm gonna try and find, I've put it somewhere and I don't know where it is, but my other glucose meter, and start using that and see if they even have the same results. Maybe mine's just messed up. The blood test that's accurate said I didn't have gestational diabetes, and now my old glucose meter said I didn't have gestational diabetes, and now this meter is the only thing telling me I do have it, but it's obviously been proven to be inaccurate in some way. Somewhere something's going wrong. Guess I'm gonna go to my Fiona Stanley appointment and then just say, look, I don't want to come to you guys. I want to go to my hospital in Armidale. You're hungry? Yeah. Can you go with him and get something for him to eat?
Do you want me to bring you some food out here?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't even think I have gestational diabetes, and if they say anything, I'm then going to go and get a actual endocrinologist.
Can you record this for a sec? Vicious fist bump.
Whoa! You need a punching bag. Luca! Quick! Take him inside.
I'm just getting food coming back up.
Well, take him inside. Reset him.
Come outside with me?
Press the reset button.
Reset button. Take that up his arse.
But yeah, if worse comes to worse, I'm going to go get a specialist, private specialist, and just be like, look, I'll pay you for the appointment fees and everything. I just need a second opinion whether I even have gestational diabetes. And if I do still somehow have it despite all these proper tests being negative, how do I treat it? Can I do a treatment plan through you and still go to Armidale Hospital? Because I want to go to Armidale Hospital. I'm not going to Fiona Crapley bloody Stanley. But yeah, so we're all sick, we're all miserable, and I don't think I have gestational diabetes. But yeah, that's it. Luke's interrupting while I'm trying to say goodbye. Like, just wait a second. Alright, thanks for watching. That's my GD update, or non-GD update, whatever the hell you want to call it. And say, give us a thumbs up if you like this video. No thumbs up this time? Yeah, hit subscribe if you want to see more videos. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye! You gotta book that bit, remember?